Big John McCarthy breaks down Topuria versus Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title at UFC 317. With Islam Makhachev officially moving up to welterweight, the UFC lightweight title is back on the table. And who better to clash for it than two of the most electrifying names in the game, Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira. Set for International Fight Week at UFC 317, this matchup is as high stakes as it gets, and Big John wasted no time breaking down what fans should expect when these two killers collide. First, let's talk momentum. El Matador is riding a wave of dominance. After dethroning Alex Volkanovski in brutal fashion and tearing through Max Holloway in his first defense, the undefeated Georgian has shifted his focus to lightweight gold. Ilia's speed, footwork, and lethal boxing make him one of the most dangerous pressure fighters in the UFC right now, and the scary part, he's still improving. But standing in his way is the submission king himself, Charles "Da Bronx" Oliveira, a former champion with a resume stacked with finishes. Oliveira brings chaos, unpredictability, and elite jiu-jitsu to every second of every fight. Big John highlighted that while Oliveira has looked vulnerable in the past, his ability to snatch victory out of thin air makes him a nightmare matchup for anyone, including Topuria.
Man, I'll tell you what, this is a great fight. Although Ilia is very good on the ground, I think that, you know, he can be caught just like anybody. Charles has gotten into that, you know, it really changed him as a fighter as far as how dangerous he became, because yeah, you could hurt him and he was going to try to hurt you back right away. He's just this guy now that you're looking. I think Topuria is a perfect blend of dangerous on the feet with power. He's not a real kicker, where Charles is very good, especially with that front push and deep kick that he throws. He uses it as a jab, and he keeps on coming back to hitting you in the solar plexus, hitting you to the sternum. All these places that he keeps on popping, it affects you. It affects your breathing rhythm. It does a lot of things to you. He uses more of the kickboxing, you know, Muay Thai look. You know, he brings the leg up a lot and stuff, where Topuria is more boxing centric, but he'll kick at times.
Islam Makhachev's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, laid out Islam's position in detail and fired shots at Ilia Topuria. He confirmed that Islam never actually planned to leave lightweight. It would only happen if Belal Muhammad lost. And now that he has, the door is wide open. According to the manager, if Belal had retained the welterweight belt at UFC 315, Islam would have stayed at lightweight and reluctantly defended against Topuria. But once Jack Della Maddalena seized that gold in Montreal, Islam didn't hesitate, and Abdelaziz didn't miss the opportunity to throw shade at Ilia in the process. He made it clear, Ilia should thank Islam for vacating, because if Makhachev had stayed, there's no way he would be fighting for UFC gold. In their eyes, this is a gift. So now Charles and Ilia are fighting for a vacant belt, but Abdelaziz says everyone knows who the real champion is. Islam never lost. He walked away on his terms, not because someone took it from him. A 15-fight win streak, 8 finishes in his last 9, and 5 title fights in just over 2 years. Islam didn't just dominate the division, he cleared it out completely. He believes a fully fueled, non-depleted Makhachev at 170 is gonna wreck the division, saying, quote, he will have 2 belts over his shoulder because he's still the lightweight champion. And the message to Topuria, be grateful. Without Islam stepping aside, Ilia wouldn't even be in position to touch a UFC title. Just like Khabib walked away as the king, Islam's now aiming to sit on 2 thrones, one physically and the other by legacy.
If he have to fight Ilia, no problem, he would have fought Ilia. But when Islam go out there and finish Ilia, he was almost 4-1 underdog, favorite, right? People are gonna say, and Ilia is a very skilled fighter. I'm not taking anything away from him. You know, it's always, I respect him as a fighter, you know. But, you know, if Islam go there, starch him or beat him, right? That people are going to say he beat a 45-pounder. Honestly, the UFC was great. I was last night to the office to probably 4 in the morning, try to get stuff done. The one thing, Islam will fight this year. This is the word was given to me by Hunter, by Dana, by everybody. They always, whatever they say, they do. And he will fight someone. It can be anybody, but Jack Maddalena is the champion. Islam will fight him. But Jack is not ready. This belt will be Islam will fight for the belt. Not an interim belt, for a real UFC belt.
Khamzat Chimaev sends a death threat to Dricus Du Plessis ahead of UFC 319. In a chilling moment during his appearance on Adam Zuba's Russian YouTube channel, Khamzat let his emotions explode when asked about his highly anticipated showdown with DDP at UFC 319. The Chechen star didn't hold back, especially after the reporter brought up DDP's recent trash talk, which crossed the line from fight promotion into deeply personal territory. The two stars have a long history of trading trash talk, but one jab from DDP stood out when he publicly mocked Khamzat's split lip, a visible scar from childhood. It wasn't just a cheap shot at appearance, it touched on something much deeper, tied to real-life struggles and personal history, making the insult far more cutting than it seemed on the surface. What many fans don't realize is that Khamzat got that injury while fleeing an attack on his village, falling downstairs as chaos unfolded around him. For Khamzat, that scar is a reminder of survival, not something to be joked about. The disrespect struck a nerve. Khamzat responded not just with anger, but with something that sounded eerily like a death threat. He made it clear that this fight is no longer just business. Here's what Khamzat said, quote, "I understand that this is a fighting sport. We punch each other in the face and bleed inside the cage. So talking shit is not crazy. There must be some professionalism still. You talk too much, some bad stuff is going to happen. Some very bad stuff. Somebody might die, you know." End quote. UFC 319 was already shaping up to be massive, but now, with emotions this raw and personal, the buildup is going to be insane. Aljamain Sterling is backing Ilia Topuria to spoil Charles Oliveira's title hopes, and it's all about that chin. Sterling pointed out what's become a recurring theme in Oliveira's career, getting dropped. Despite being one of the slickest submission specialists in UFC history, Oliveira has been knocked down in 4 of his last 7 outings and has 4 TKO losses on his record. Even in his most recent fight against Michael Chandler at UFC 309, Oliveira took some serious damage later in the fight. Sterling sees this as a major red flag, especially against someone like Topuria, who's now fighting at 155 and claims he feels even stronger there. Sterling highlighted how the Georgian once got dropped by Jai Herbert but came back with a brutal KO, emphasizing that his power holds up at 155. Now, with more size, more power, and the same laser-sharp precision, Aljo believes if Ilia lands clean, it could be a rough night for Charles. He even went as far as calling Topuria a 2-division champion already, showing serious confidence in Ilia's rise. What are your predictions for this insane lightweight clash? Do you agree with Aljo? Leave your comments below. That's it from MMA Psycho. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.